Hi, I'm Mike Crabb.
And I'm Laurie Schultz. Welcome to the show.
We'll have some caffeinated conversation.
And maybe some special guests along the way.
Who knows where the conversation will go? You're out for coffee with Mike and Laurie. Hello, friends. Welcome to a new episode of Out for Coffee.
With Mike and Laurie.
Hi,
and
Laurie.
Rob's here too.
Hey, Rob. How are you, buddy?
Not bad at all. Not bad.
Good. And how are you, Laurie?
Welcome to season 4.
Season 4.
Out for coffee. Season
Holy mac.
cat.
Wow.
French. That's for our French listeners.
La-di-da. Ooh. Yeah, you got some sassy hair going there, Laurie.
Yeah. It's my long, flowing locks.
I dig it.
The biggest difference between season 1 and season 4 is the evolution of my hair.
You had some short hair back then, eh?
Yeah. If you look at our first kind of promo images, it was really short.
It was very short.
Why didn't anybody tell me? Stop doing that. Throw that
It
out.
didn't look bad. Your hair always looks different. I have literally never met somebody with such a consistently changing hair aesthetic. And it always works.
Because I am so non-committal. Oh, I think we've talked about this.
Yes. Yeah.
But what I don't get, especially for a girl, like guys' hair is like the same pretty much all the time anyway, right? For the most part. Or very, very limited variation.
Right.
But and this, no offense if you have had your hair the same for 30 years, no offense, but why? How? Like, to me, that's just, there's nothing more fun than spicing up the do.
Yeah, but how many times have you changed the do and then you went, maybe that was not I miss
usually.
Yesterday's hair. No.
One time. It's what I get for going to like Magic Cuts. Remember Magic Cuts in Woolco
Yeah.
and Walmart?
That's a tier or two below first choice, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to trim. I had a cute little pixie cut. I was in college.
Yeah.
Had a cute little pixie cut, and I just wanted them to trim it and give it a little more shape. She practically gave me a buzz cut. And when you have a longer hair and they don't take enough off, you can get a little more off, right? Or if they take a little too much off, it's no big deal. If they give you a buzz cut, there is nothing that can be done.
You cannot put it back on.
No. And I'm like, this is gonna grow in. Can I still slick it over? She goes, oh heavens no. I'm like, what? She says it took 6 weeks for it to grow into what I had asked for.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now I take that as a lesson in what could I do? Right?
Yeah.
That was a lesson in acceptance.
That's true. There isn't anything you do unless you get a wig. And if you're wearing a wig, people can wear a wig really tastefully, but you gotta spend money on it to make it look decent. If you're not spending money on it, it's not working.
To the dollar store at Halloween and getting one of those little
matted bangs and like there's always like some of it's up and the other half is down.
And you can see the little bit of the hairnet because it's not a full head of hair. It's just
It's sparse in the back. It's like you gotta let me speak to your manager haircut and put it on sideways a little bit.
And it could not look any phonier if it had a chin strap. Side of a bun. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to season 4. Cheers. Well, I can't believe it. I've been hanging out with you knuckleheads for 3 full seasons.
And we've been putting up with you for 4 as well. Yeah.
Well, not for 4 yet. This is episode 1 of 4.
Yeah, there you go.
3 full seasons.
I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I?
This is why Rob disappears for like weeks at a time.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Rob goes on his little pilgrimage.
Yeah.
The own vacation pay. He's earned it.
Just get me out of here.
Yet you keep coming back, Rob. You're the cat.
I do. Honestly, I do honestly miss our opportunities to get together.
Good.
In reality,
we do have.
Yeah, because we have a lot of fun.
We do have a lot of fun. Hey, Laurie, the cat came back the very next day. That cartoon, there was a cartoon, like a short story cartoon. What made you say that? What's your cat came back origin story?
The cat came back the very next day. It's a song.
Yeah.
I thought he was a goner.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
just couldn't stay away.
Because I completely forgot that existed until you said those words. And I remember as a kid going to the drive-in, and it was like a little short film that they would put between, and it was to that song. And I forgot it existed until you started saying that.
It wasn't "Let's all go to the lobby."
No.
Let's all no.
No, that's before my time, I think.
Oh, quite a bit, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm curious, Laurie. Is it prank phone calls or crank phone calls?
You could go either way. It's a crank call, or you make a prank phone call.
See, I always knew it as a prank. Rob, would you say it's a prank or a crank?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I think it could go either way too.
Yeah,
I'm sticking with prank.
It depends on. Maybe it's a regional thing. I don't know. But do you remember the show called Crank Yankers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob, have you heard of Crank Yankers?
No.
So if I'm not mistaken, Laurie, it was a TV show. It was like on the Comedy Network or something like that. And it was audio recordings from people making prank phone calls.
Yeah.
And what they would do is they would reenact these phone calls with like Muppet style puppets.
Puppets, yeah. So funny.
And they're quite funny because the phone calls are genuine, I believe, at least.
Well, Wanda Sykes did one. That's my favorite crank yanker was Wanda Sykes calling a tow yard saying that somebody left a turd in the back seat of the car that she just picked up. And she is just like deadpan. Well, at least her voice is, and you don't get to see her, but she's just killing it. It was so great.
She's
so great.
Yeah. She kills me.
We used to listen to a radio announcer. There's some radio station out of the States somewhere, and I can't think of his name, but they would do those prank calls for you. So you call in and say, okay, listen, here's my my buddy and I. We just got back from this a fishing vacation, off the coast of Mexico or something or other, and we were, going on about sword fishing or something, reeling in swordfish, and or maybe it's actually it was tuna. It was tuna, and he caught the biggest tuna, and blah blah blah, and so the announcer says, "Okay, no problem, we'll set this up." So the announcer calls this guy, and they do this live on the radio station, and is this so and so? Yeah, listen, we got your tuna that you caught. This is the taxidermist place calling. We caught the tuna that you caught, and because he's been fed all this detailed information from his buddy, right? So, and then he goes on and says, "Now, by the way, do you have sufficient space? Can we deliver this tuna to you?" "Oh, absolutely." He says, "I've got the perfect spot in my rec room." And the guy's, "Oh no, hang on right there. Just your rec room. Is that on the main floor?" "Well, no, the rec room is in the basement." "Well, that might be a problem." "Well, what do you mean it might be a problem?" He says, I got a great, it's going to go right over the mantle at the, "Oh, no. He says, because I've got 3 skids here." He says, "I beg your pardon?" "Yeah, I got 3 skids. Like, you're not going to get them down in a downstairs rec room. Like, we can offload them, like maybe into your garage or something." He says, "What are you talking about, 3 skids?" "Well, I've got 3 skids of canned tuna." And this guy who's expecting the taxidermist to deliver this lovely mounted tuna that they caught on their Mexican fishing vacation, this guy's telling him that, "No, I've got 3 skids of canned tuna." And he just goes on and on and on, just reeling this guy in, pardon the pun. And of course, at the very last moment, after he's milked it for as best as he can, he said, "Well, if you have if you have a problem with this or an issue, you should really you should talk to our production manager. And he gives him his buddy's name. He says, if his buddy's name was Bill, he says, you should really talk to Bill, because he'd be the guy. And all of a sudden you could just, this is, a phone call on the radio, but you can hear the penny drop.
The realization.
The realization. And it's like, oh crap. You're kidding. You gotta be kidding me. Well, then of course, the buddy's been listening, on the other line. And at that moment, of course, they bring him on and he's just killing himself laughing. And they would do this on a regular basis. Those kind of
that's awesome
calls or crank calls, whatever you. And this or there was, what was the other one I just recall off the top of my head, was some guy, he says, listen, my son just had his car painted at the shop down the road there. But he said, now I know these guys, they're old friends. We've been golfing buddies for years, whatever. But I sent my son down to get his car painted, and I said I'd really like to, pull one over on these guys. So the radio announcer calls up the car place and says, listen, I understand that you recently painted a car for so and so, and this young fellow, blah blah blah. He says, listen, we're going to have to come down and see about this, because that rainstorm we had last night has basically washed most of that paint right off. And they're like, I beg your pardon? I said, yeah. Like there's like red paint all over this driveway. It's just like washed up. Well, no, I'm sorry, sir. That's not possible. It could, it goes on and on and on. And finally they pull his leg as long as they can. And then they bring the buddy on. That's awesome. And get a good laugh. Yeah, it was very, very funny.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I remember a vague recollection. I remember the same thing, Rob. It was a radio station, and maybe it was like Stu from Q or something like that used to make these calls. Right. And I remember as a kid, my dad, it'd be like summer break, and I'd be sleeping in. And he'd be on holiday and he'd be like, wake up, Stu from Q's on. And we would get up and we'd go listen to his early morning prank phone calls. Because they were always
little memory.
Yeah, it is. Huh. And then I think they released them on a CD, and we bought the CD and you could just listen to them over and over again. Nice. It was so good. Yeah. Do you have
ever made? Well, did you ever make any?
Yes, I do recall. I was in high school, so this would have been the days where caller ID was starting to become a thing. It was certainly a thing, and so you'd have to, what is it? Not *69. There was like *67 or something like that. You can put in,
block, yeah.
You could do that, and then so what I would do is I'd get a phone book and I would just pick a random person, and I would make sure it was their first and last name were there. And I would call them and I would say, hi, this is Pete from Pete's Pool Hall, just calling to confirm your reservation for the birthday party. They're like, what are you talking about? It's like, oh, I got a party of, 75 and and I'd feed them all this stuff that was like going to be this big bill. And they're like, you have the wrong number. And I would always recite back their phone number and their name. And they would be like deer in headlights thinking they've made this reservation, or they are so lost. And every time I would repeat it and they would confirm their phone number, it was like I would start the whole conversation. So yeah, I'm just calling to confirm your reservation. We've got a call, or we got a party of 75 waiting for you. And it would just keep going in circles. Oh man, we had a good time with that. Yeah. It would often get to the point where like they would be like, you're screwing with me. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, you have a nice night. Thanks for playing along. And it would usually end on a good note. But boy, did we have fun with that. Pete's Pool Hall forever.
Do you, good one. Do you remember when, Mike, you probably wouldn't. Rob, do you remember when the Eagles came out with their Hell Freezes Over tour?
Yes.
That acoustic kind of live album?
Yep.
That's when WQLN, PBS out of the States.
Say PBS, yes.
PBS, when they have their, maybe I told this story, I don't know. When they have their telethon, please support our station.
Oh, yeah.
You spend this much money, you get a tote. You spend this much money, you get a CD.
Yep.
And they were playing that Hell Freezes Over tour. And it was, help us continue to bring us broadcasting and programming like this with your support, blah, blah, blah. And I remember saying to my friend Amanda, I think I was in early college college at the time. I remember saying to Amanda, God, I wish I could tell them just to bite me. And she says, you should do it. And I'm like, maybe I should do it. So I called the number, WQLN, how much would you like to pledge? And I'm like, yeah, hi, can I talk to Don Henley? Because Don Henley is an Eagle, Mike.
Okay.
You know, he's one of the Eagles.
Right.
And it was on TV, right? He's right there live on live.
Right.
And she's like, what? And I said, yeah, I'd like to talk to Don Henley, please. She's, what are you talking? You have to pledge money here. I'm like, no, I see him right there on the stage. When he's done that song, can you put him on? She's like, I don't think you understand. He's not here. I said, of course he is. I can see him right there. She's like, listen, this is a pledge hotline that, he's not really here. This is just a video. Like, she's explaining this like I'm some kind of an idiot, right? And so I'm like, oh, okay then. And I said, well, then can I talk to Glenn Fry? She just goes, oh. And I went, oh, by the way, bite me, click.
Yike.
Bucket list check.
Yes. Such an idiot. But that was so great. Well, can I talk to Glenn Fry then? An ass. Oh, that was so good. Did you ever hear? It was a guy named Tom Mabe, and he recorded when somebody, like a telemarketer, called him, and he pretended to be a sheriff or some kind of a detective, because the person that they were looking for, the person that the telemarketer had called for, he said, oh, well, how do you know him? Well, I don't really know him. I'm just calling to offer him a deal on blah, blah, blah. Well, now just hold on a second. You've actually called a homicide investigation. Mr. So-and-so was found dead this morning. So I need to know exactly what your relationship with him was. Well, we don't have a relationship. Well, now you said you were calling to talk to him. So, and he just had this poor guy on the line for like 20 minutes, and just, you can see this poor, or you can hear this guy, like this poor telemarketer, just sweating buckets. Like, I am not involved with this person whatsoever. And you can hear the guy on the phone going, now just hold on a second. Don't wrap the body up just yet. Or just whatever, right? Like he's pretending to talk to CSIs or whatever. So great. So good. I think you can find that. I'll see if I can find the link to that.
I feel like a few of these we could actually probably find somewhere online anymore.
I bet you the crank yankers with the turd in the car, you could.
100%. It's out there. It's got to be, right? Yeah. And I think Crank Yankers maybe it wasn't. If Wanda Sykes was on it, maybe it wasn't a Canadian show, but I was under the impression it was a Canadian show. Yeah.
I don't think so.
I do recall too so I was probably around, so it was around that grade 8 time when you can finally just like stay home alone or like hang out with your friends and the parents weren't there, right? And I recall around that time Scream had also come out. So this is okay, this isn't really nice, but we were friends, and this is what you do to your friends is you have fun, right? So there was this trick where if you picked up your phone, you dialed 999, then your phone number, your 7-digit phone number. This was the day of 7-digit phone numbers. 999, 7-digit phone number, hang up, and you leave it and you wait 5 seconds, the phone will ring. And then you pick up the phone and it's just dead silence on the other end.
Oh my God.
And we had watched Scream, me and some friends, and we were home alone on a Friday night. It was probably 11 o'clock at night. And I just did that. And everyone was losing their minds. We were all like so scared that something was going to happen. But the tricky part was sneaking away to do that dial to make the phone ring. But it was like witchcraft, getting your own phone to ring without. So that was something else.
I don't know if I ever told this one or not. I think I might have, but I don't know. When I was younger, my next door neighbor, she was home alone, and she's the same one that I gave X-Lax to and told her it was chocolate.
Oh no.
This was a different occasion though.
This poor girl.
So I called her house and left a message on the answering machine pretending to be so-and-so from TD Bank calling about your mortgage. Just joking because I knew she's home alone and I thought she was going to answer and she didn't. So I'm like, well, I'll leave a message. Next thing I know, her parents were away at their cottage, which was way up north, and they were on an island, so they didn't have a phone. She had to call. She thought that it was a real call about the mortgage. for her parents.
Okay.
So she called up to the general store and had somebody get on the boat and go out to her parents' cottage and bring her parents back to the store to call her. And she played the message, and they're like, we don't understand. We don't have a mortgage through this bank. So they're trying to call the bank to find out who was calling about their mortgage.
Oh my God.
And
Laurie.
I had said something to her like, did you like the message I left? She goes, what do you mean? I said, the message about the mortgage. She went, oh my
Oh.
God. So she told me what had happened. And I was like, oh my God. And I had to apologize to her family. It was
Just
awful.
upheaval their whole holiday. They were nice and relaxed.
Oh, as if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to take it a step too far.
A step too
I
far.
didn't
That's what
know.
you do.
I didn't know that how was I supposed to know any of that, right? Just me being a jerk. I'm calling about your mortgage. Oh. Did it stop me? No.
Never.
No.
Why would
Did I learn from it? Also, no.
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 Why would well, that'd be too
Because that
valuable.
was way before I called WQLN about Don Henley and Glenn Fry.
Right. That was but formative years.
Those were my practice crank calls. I'm sure I could have a good time now, but you know what? I couldn't now because everything's recorded now and everybody knows what everybody else is doing.
Everyone
now.
knows what everyone's up to. And yet there's no privacy anymore. Everyone knows everything about everyone.
Yeah. Especially since we broadcast it every other week on purpose.
So did your dog poo today, Laurie?
He did.
Literally, this
outside.
is our life.
He did outside. But I'm just dreading because once we're done recording this tonight, I have to take him out for one more pee.
It's something else out there.
And
Good
it's
luck with that.
pretty snowy. So
Oh man.
we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob,
So
have
Yes,
you ever
ma'am.
made any prank calls?
No, I don't think I did.
No.
I'm gonna say no.
it's too straight laced.
Boring.
Yeah.
Come on, Rob. You still got time. Do better. You've got time.
What about pranks in general? Did you pull any in your day?
Pranks in general?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. We, used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of, but I mean, we were kids, eh? So,
Oh yeah, the good old days.
so the stuff you thought was funny is,
Now you look at that as an adult, you're like, oh, why did I do that?
You like TPing people's
Nobody should be
cars?
doing that.
that was kind of stupid.
Like, pull
I
my
was a
finger.
jerk.
Like, how deep were these pranks? Were they like, were you toilet papering people's houses and
Have you ever done
Oh,
that?
sure. Yeah. We did all those kind of things. Yeah. The kind of things that would, get you picked up by the local constabulary. But
Rob, do you have a mugshot?
Oh,
do
that's
I
actually a
have a
good
mugshot?
question.
Are you bondable?
let's just say I was fairly photogenic in my young teenage years.
I love it. That's awesome.
You hoodlum.
Have you ever toilet papered a house before, Laurie?
No.
No,
Listen.
I've always wanted to.
Why? What a
Right.
waste. You know how expensive toilet paper is?
Well,
Well, yeah.
nowadays, back in
Yeah.
my day,
Today, that was a
Listen, I take a pill that makes me have to pee every 20 minutes for a few hours each day. There is no toilet paper to spare.
you just got to go to like the truck stop on the highway and get one of those like cheese wheeled size rolls of one
Yes.
ply.
One
You're
ply.
good. You're fine.
Oh, do you remember,
Wow.
speaking of those wheel at the truck stop, do you remember the thing that had the towel in it and you would pull the towel down?
Yeah,
Who was
It was-
using that?
it was like an infinity loop.
Oh God,
Of
whose
towels.
idea was this? I can't even. Oh, just thinking that when I was younger,
Yep.
I probably touched those.
Yeah.
I will say I never toilet papered a house. However, I did once in my high school days hot dog house.
What?
Oh, okay.
It started
Do tell.
with a package of hot dogs that was left in our friend lived in the country. So they had a roadside mailbox, and we thought it would be funny to leave a half open package of hot dog wieners in it. And the mystery at
Yes.
school was like, he was just sharing the story of like, this was so weird. My mom came in with a half package of hot dogs. And we're like, that's weird. Who would do that? That's odd. And then we said, let's double down. So we went the next day and we just put hot dogs and hot dog buns all over their back porch. And then that's when the raccoons and stuff came and we realized we've crossed a line.
Yeah.
Oh,
You just
but you know
basically
what?
put out bait.
One wiener a day in the mailbox for like a week. That is such a cheap, inexpensive way to occupy a portion of their mind forever.
Effective. Very effective.
Yeah, for the rest of their lives. That week in time where somebody gave them a wiener every day.
Hot dog week. Oh no, the wiener week.
Wiener week.
Wiener week.
That's so good.
Oh,
that's so good. That reminds me.
So stupid.
I need to brush up on my pranking skills. I was the person at school, not as a student, but as my job in my role, who was a great big fan of pranking, like scaring teachers.
Okay.
When they would come into the duplicating room or they would come into the staff room, and we have like frost on the frosted door windows.
Right.
So you can see when someone's coming, but if they're not paying attention, they don't see you on the inside.
Yeah.
So I'd be kind of hiding in
just lurking around and
just lurking, and when they'd open their yeah. I used to do that. I got punched. I probably told you guys this. Not at school, but I used to do that when people would be approaching me on the street.
Like strangers?
Strangers.
Laurie.
They get maybe 2 feet from me and I go, I got punched once. I deserved it. I had it coming.
You had it coming.
I totally had it coming. And then some guy hit me with his bag of McDonald's. Right. Worth it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
Good times.
Have you been the giver or recipient of an April Fool's Day joke?
100%. As a teacher, April Fool's
I bet.
is my time to shine.
What are some of the shining moments that you might have experienced? Any in particular that have scarred you for life?
Well, not scarred me. Like I have delivered.
Right. You show up.
One year I told the kids, before they got there, I had turned all the desks around to face the back of the room.
Okay.
And I said I was going to teach from back there from now on.
Okay.
And they're like, okay. And then I told them I made them brownies. Like, really? I said, yeah, we're going to have brownies this morning. So if you'd like to have a brownie, put your head down and put your hand up, and I'll put a brownie on your desk. So all these heads went down and all these hands went up. And I went around and I put on their desk construction paper made out of brown construction paper, capital letter E for each student. Brownies.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So I said, there you go. The kids looked like, what is this? I said, you're brownies. and the one kid, Mike, whom you know her,
right?
She said, well, can I still eat this? No.
I know exactly who you mean too. Oh, I love it.
Can I still eat? No, but of course I wasn't thinking. I should have actually brought them a treat to eat, but I didn't.
So it was a cruel joke, is what you're saying.
And then another year, I got the principal in on it. I had told the kids that because, it's April, I said, there's so much mess in the school. We're trying to cut down on the amount of mud and stuff in the classrooms. So, as of today, you're supposed to take your shoes off out in the hallway and line your shoes up in front of the classroom door, and then you have to come in your stocking feet.
Right.
And they're like, okay. So they all did it. And then came and sat down in the class, and I had him come down and tell them, no, you don't have to do this. This is just a joke. But
I would have had somebody come along with a box and pick them all up.
Take them all.
Oh, that would have been good.
I love it. I love it.
Next year, Laurie.
And then just wait to see the reaction as they all file out into the hallway.
Where's my shoes?
Where's my shoes?
Yeah, where's my shoes?
Sorry. That's great. I will recycle that.
I don't know.
And then one other time, I told the kids I was bringing them chicken strips. Because I had a class at the time, and then we're always talking about chicken wings and chicken strips and who had the best chicken strips and blah, blah, blah. So I said, you know what? We'll have some chicken strips in the morning. So same kind of deal. Put your hand up if you want chicken strips. And I started distributing big long strips of paper with pictures of chickens on them. Yeah. Here's your chicken strips. And they were like, oh,
so lame.
Really? Like Miss Schultz.
Yeah.
And if they rolled their eyes any harder, they'd see their brains, Oh my God. But I tried.
You probably get that often, eh?
I do. I get that all the time. Oh my God. But it's all in good fun.
And have you ever been the recipient of such pranks?
I remember one time, just as a little kid, my mom came in the room. I was sleeping and she woke me up. She's like, "You got to get dressed right now. Your bus is coming. You're going to be late." And I'm throwing clothes on and I'm like, "Oh my God, I don't want to be late for school." Because I was the kid who never wanted to be late for school, right?
Uh-huh.
"Your bus is coming right now." And it was like 6 o'clock in the morning and she's killing herself laughing. She goes, "Look what time it is." And I'm sitting there all disheveled with clothes half on and almost in tears because I was going to miss my bus. And she's dying laughing. It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
really recall doing many April Fool's Day pranks as a kid growing up, and I don't really recall many classmates or anything doing much either. It seemed like
I love April Fools.
I like it. I'm into it, but I don't. It was like everyone else wasn't. But I also never came up with anything. I remember hearing of a classmate. He put Kool-Aid mix, like red Kool-Aid powder. He screwed off the shower head, and he poured it all in the shower head.
Oh yeah.
And closed. So when his mom went to go have a shower, she turned it on, and it was like
stains.
red water coming.
It stains.
Yeah.
You can dye your hair with Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And then another kid did a similar thing, but with a tea bag. He put a tea bag in there, and it was like brown water coming through, and they thought there was a plumbing issue. So
Oh no.
there's some notes for our audience members if you're looking for something.
Well,
Be
I'm
careful.
actually pretty excited because for the first time in a few years, April Fool's Day is a weekday.
Okay.
The last
go
few
crazy
years,
with
it
it.
has not been a weekday.
Okay.
So
So
I'm
we need to get our ducks in a row then, is what you're
rubbing
saying.
my hands together in anticipation.
When I
Yeah.
when I was working in the office, and a lot of people will probably remember that I worked for federal government. And so one of our sort of bone of contention, if you will, was the fact that everything we did had to be in both official languages.
Oh yes.
Everything had to be in English and French, and which was it's kind of one of those things that gets worse the further away you are from Ottawa. So it's an aggravation to the people in Ontario,
right?
And it's more of an aggravation to the people in Manitoba and Saskatchewan. It's a real aggravation to the people in Alberta, and it's just a downright pain in the ass to people in BC. I remember one time it was April 1st happened to be on a weekday, and I was heading up a team meeting, and we were a virtual team, so I had members of my team from all across Canada. It'd probably be about a dozen of us or so. And I was heading up this meeting, and I said, by the way, I just want everybody to know that due to the very high percentage of Asian population in BC, which is, a very real thing, we are now going to be required to produce all of our material, not only in English and in French, but also in Vietnamese. And well, you could just imagine the reaction I got from the folks in BC. They were, "You gotta be kidding me." Anyway, I managed to keep that going probably till about the end of the meeting.
That was all I had, eh?
And finally had to give it up. But yeah.
I got in trouble once because I had an April Fool's joke that my dad did not find funny.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah.
I called him and said that our house burnt down.
Oh, brother.
And he's like, "Oh my God," because my parents split up when I was younger, right? So
Right.
I would see my dad on weekends, and I just called Dad. Oh, my dad. Oh, another one too. Yeah, sorry. Hang on. Sorry. Too many things happening in my brain at once right now. So he got really mad when I'm like, just April Fool's. He goes, that's not a funny joke. And I'm like, of all people, my dad telling me what a funny joke is? I don't think so. If anybody pushed any envelopes, it was that guy.
Yeah.
So don't be telling me my business again. Anyway, so he was not appreciative of the house burning down joke. He said, why didn't you
No.
say something like, you broke your foot or something like that, but about your house burning? I'm like, okay, all right, I get it. Fine. Oh. And then years ago, before I bought my house, before I actually moved remember when I lived on Light Street, Mike?
Yeah.
I lived in a different place, and I was not, there were some issues with the other tenants.
Of course.
And so I had told my dad that I couldn't take it anymore, and I gave my landlord my notice, and that I was going to be out in 6 weeks, but I didn't have a place to go. Dad, can Meatloaf, the cats, and I move in with you in his little small semi-detached house? And he's like, yeah, okay.
Oh,
I was like,
that's a good dad.
that's so nice. I said, I really appreciate that, Dad. And also April Fool's. And he went, you asshole. But I just thought, hey, that's really nice. He was going to let me move in there.
Or was he not going
hated
to let
cats.
you? And that was his
That was
April
his April
Fool's.
Fool's.
Yeah.
And
There
you
you
took
go.
it from him.
Guess what? April
But
Fool.
he hated cats. And the fact that he was going,
He was
all right,
willing
you
to.
and the cats can kind of,
Oh,
all right,
that's a
thanks,
good
Dad.
dad.
Thanks,
Oh.
Daddy.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. But I mean, that one probably could have given him a heart attack too, even more so than the house burning down.
Yeah.
The dog, 2 cats, and I are moving in, Dad.
It's a lot. That's a lot of energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember hearing lots. I've never seen this, and I've always wanted to. When people put detergent in a water fountain.
Oh
Oh,
no.
Have you seen
yeah.
this? I've seen like videos of
Yeah.
it and stuff, but I remember hearing that as a kid. And I thought, oh, that would be great. And there was a water fountain not too far away, and I was like, do I? And I never did, and I never saw it done. But online, I'm like, man, that actually looks like it would be fun.
Remember
Like
when
in
I
a
talked
mall?
about? Remember when I talked about being photogenic
Yeah,
in my younger days?
yeah.
Uh-oh.
I spent my high school years at Parkside Collegiate. I'm sure, Laurie,
In
you're
St.
familiar with
Thomas.
Parkside in
Yep.
St. Thomas. That's right. And they have exactly that in the center
Yes, they do.
in the center of the school is a very large water fountain, like a couple of tiers high, and it would spray up. And it's a big courtyard kind of thing, and they would use that area to do, pep rallies before the football game and blah blah blah, and get everybody in there. And yeah, it was a pretty, well, I won't say regular occurrence, but there were some people, no names mentioned, who would make it a pretty regular habit to. And of course, it got much more convenient when they started making detergent into tablets.
Right. You
Because
just slip it in.
oh yeah, because you could throw it from the
From a
sideline.
distance.
You didn't
No
have
eyewitnesses.
you didn't have to be walking up real close to it. Thankfully, those were the days before security cameras.
Yeah.
We never had security cameras.
Well, nowadays the workaround would
I'm sure
be
they
you
do
could just
now, but
fly it in with a little drone and drop it in, and nobody would
Oh,
know
yeah,
where the
yeah.
drone came from. So
and it's not the first time when that, because it was kind of in a sunken area as well, like steps down all the way around on 4 sides with steps down, and kind of not cobblestone, but it was, the flooring was different to make it unique. And it was not the first time when we would try to get as much going as we could to see some people would try to get as much going
Right.
to see
of course,
if we could if you could get the overflow to fill up the
Rob,
oh yeah.
you are a punk.
Oh boy, I remember doing that now.
slacker.
Oh.
I just picture like Back to the Future, like Rob is Marty McFly coming in, and then there's the principal who's hunting him down in the hallways.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
That was
There's
you.
Slugger McFly. Oh, that would actually be a great stage play.
Hey, they made Back to the Future into a musical. So here's the thing. Sometimes I'm like, oh, it's going to be too cheesy. It's going to just totally, there's no way it's going to be good. Like they turned Wedding Singer into a musical and it's sure, whatever, but, and that has music in it, but like Back to the Future, here's the thing. The original orchestration from the movie, that same composer did the music for the musical. It was all the same people who made the musical. And I hear really good things, and it's on Broadway. We're coming to Broadway. It's at least in the West End in London right now, because Kevin and I considered to go see it. But yeah, that could be a thing. Another on the topic of pranks, one that I remember hearing about in high school. So we are familiar with the Dollarama and Good Life downtown Woodstock.
Yeah, by Foodland.
And the giant parking lot that they have.
Yeah.
So that parking lot, when I was in high school, somebody had taken the grocery store at the time. It was IGA. I actually worked at that. That was my first job, was working at that grocery store. And somebody had taken, they wouldn't bring the shopping carts in at night. They would just like leave them out in the cart corrals and stuff. And somebody had taken these shopping carts and they made, they put them in all of the different parking spots. So like every parking spot had a shopping cart in it. And they did it like in the middle of the night, and the police station is right next door. So I don't know how they got away with it.
That's
but
awesome.
I remember hearing about that. Kind of a harmless one, aside from the person who has to then go collect all those carts. But I remember hearing of that, and I was like, oh, that's so simple. It's kind of brilliant.
Wow.
I love a good prank.
Yeah.
I really do, as long as it's not on me.
Oh, well.
Well, there you go.
What goes around comes around. You can't dish it out and not take it at the same time.
Yes, I can.
We'll see. We should have a prank challenge. We each are granted one prank for our audience. And over the next year, we have to complete such prank.
Huh.
Wow.
Oh,
now the wheels are turning, you see? The wheels are
We'll see.
Yeah. However, on that note, by the way, while you're we're already there, and while you're contemplating, I forgot to hit the record button.
There's your prank. See me jump out of my seat? What? Okay, Rob's is
okay,
done.
I'm done.
He's done.
First episode done.
There you go.
But to our audience, thank you so much for coming out and joining us. This was a good start to our 4th season. Congratulations, Rob and Laurie, for this milestone. I'm
likewise.
Proud of us. Good for us. Yes.
And Rob, have a safe drive tomorrow.
Yeah, you take care.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I will.
Rob's going on vacation.
He's off to Florida tomorrow, so we will see you guys soon on our upcoming episodes of Out for Coffee
with Mike and Laurie and Rob.
Bye, guys.
Bye now.
Do you have questions, comments, or ideas for a future show? Reach out to Mike and Laurie on their social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or email us at mikeandlauriesocials@gmail.com.